meet you. Coffee, huh?
Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
You too.
All right. Huh? Okay. Oh, I just don't remember you because of green hair.
It changes a lot.
Are we already talking right now?
Yeah, we're already ready to go.
Oh, okay.
We're not live. We're pre-recording to go
But
live.
that's the vibe you're getting. Like you're gonna let people hear this part.
I would appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. I didn't know if like you were gonna be like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. But I like it. I like just going right into it.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
that's what we're about.
I'm not complaining. I just
So
wanted to get on the same
we
page.
have been trying to get you. I've been trying to get you, and then my producer for years. And I seen that you're real internet friendly, and I was just trying to get a hold of you. And I'm so glad that we got actually sit down in person.
Well, I'm very stuck up. So
Are you really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Do people say that a lot?
No, I am stuck up. No, people tell me I'm not, but I feel I am. I told her, I was like, you have no idea how many emails I get. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not a jerk.
You have actually I put how I get my staff is I go through Craigslist. You
Here's
replied.
your first mistake.
No, my staff is the best staff on earth.
No, because Craigslist sucks.
Oh, it does.
I mean, it's a tool. It works. So I get work on there sometimes, but I hate Craigslist.
And you replied to that, saying that you wanted to be a part of the radio deal.
I vaguely remember this.
And then I wrote you back, and then I just never heard back from you. I didn't want to bother you.
I don't know. I'm stuck up.
All right, so you're continuing your wrestling career. You've worked for WWE in 2000s, 2005, 7.
2005, yeah. Is when I first got hired, and then I exited in 2007.
And then you went to TNA.
Correct.
And now you're here.
Now I'm here.
Along your career, what has been like? What was the first time that you fell in love with the business? Because you have to be in love with the business to obviously still be taking your bumps.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so when I used to get first asked this question in my career, I'd always talk about Cyndi Lauper. And I wanted to be Cyndi Lauper when I was a little girl. And when she was involved in the wrestling, there was that first, like, allure, I guess you would say. And then I kind of fell out of wrestling for a while, but it'd always come back. It always would come back. But to be honest with you, there was just something about it. So, like, when I reflect back at those times, I knew I was supposed to be there. And recently, somebody asked me, what's the advice you give somebody that wants to go to WWE? I want to go there one day. And I was like, well, here's the thing. Usually I say, no matter what, go for it, because you never know where it'll lead. Not everyone will go to WWE, but just trying and putting that effort and that hard work, you never know where it could lead you. So, whatever. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, there's some people out there that they work so freaking hard, but they'll never be in WWE. And I said, I know this sounds like a really crappy answer, but it's either your fate to be there or it's not. Because then there's those other people who have no wrestling background, and they get hired
just off the street.
Yes. Whether they're models or athletes, but for whatever reason, that was just their fate. Like, there's no right answer of how you can be in WWE, because you can do everything right, and you're still not going to get there. It's either your fate, your destiny, and I know that's like a tricky thing to say, because we could say, the butterfly effect, can you change things? I don't know. I just know that from my gut, when I would watch it, especially the Attitude Era, I knew I belonged there. And there was something inside of me that almost was mad that I wasn't there. And that's kind of how wrestling to this day is. When I see that I'm not where I want to be with it, I know it, because I'll get this feeling in my stomach, like, not jealousy, but like, I know I'm supposed to be doing that. And that's how wrestling's always been to me, no matter what. It's like, I always knew I was supposed to be doing it. So I went the long route, I busted my ass, and I did it.
Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations. It's a big, it's a big
Well,
accomplishment.
thank you.
All right. Another question. You have been, I guess, a way to say it is very overspoken. Do you feel that?
I am very outspoken. I'm confident in what I have to say. And I'll tell you why. Some people may take it the wrong way. Most don't, though, because I feel that my intent is always, even if at first someone's like, well, geez, but it's like, I know how to communicate with people, and that's what it's all about, is like communicating. And I'm straightforward because how else are you supposed to get answers unless you're straightforward?
Right.
So, yeah, you could say it's controversial. Yeah, you could say, but it's like, it's just communicating with people, and that's how I look at it.
What is your goal now? Like, do you want to make it back, or do you like, what do you want to do? Because, every so often I'll see, like, little things that you're doing, and if it's not radio, if it's not talking about working out or your dogs, it's about wrestling.
Fair enough.
So one person, someone can get the feeling that you want to make your way back on the larger stage. Is that fairly accurate?
Well, to put it simple, my role in wrestling is to cater to the women in wrestling and bring them some love and light that is desperately needed, whether it's on the independent level or on the big leagues, quote-unquote, level. So in saying that, I'm down to just go wherever I'm supposed to go because that's real life, and that's my path. And I always knew that was my path. That's why I was blessed with, that was my fate to be in WWE. Now, people ask me all the time, would you go back? Well, of course I'd go back. But it's not because I necessarily want to be on TV. It's that locker room, I really feel those women, they need something that I can bring to them. And that's what the business is for me. So it's like, I travel and like people could say, oh, okay, whatever, roll their eyes. But it's like, it's in my life. Like I go and travel different places. I always connect with women. And all of a sudden I build these bonds with these women because of things like Facebook, you can keep in touch. And it's hard being a woman wrestler. Like I know it's hard being a wrestler, period. But put it being a woman, because even when they say, oh, well, there's the gay stuff that happens. Well, guess what? The gay people still hate on the women because the guys really want to be with the women. So all around, the women, unless you're a woman in the business, you don't truly know how this business can be. And that's why I had to be outspoken about it.
When you're backstage and you first get on the scene and they pair you up with, Thorn, and they do whatever, with the vampire thing, is it easy to fall into like guys manipulation that are, the male wrestlers? Like it seems like that they can bamboozle, like because they've been around the block, and
right.
and one, new, number two, a new person, and number two, are they feel like, all right, well, people respect me and maybe I can take advantage. Does that happen? Have you seen that?
Here's the thing. My approach to the whole thing, my experience there was just how my mindset and how I grew up, and when you stay true to yourself and you're not afraid to speak up even if it can ruffle some feathers, in my case, even lose a job.
What happened with that? I don't know. I do know that you were very outspoken after some incident that happened, and then you weren't working there no more. Well,
long story short, Batista and I got into an argument.
Okay, all right.
And I lost my job because of it.
Because he's one of the boys.
Well, he's Batista, so
Triple
he's
H
one of the
is
draw.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that is a draw in the company. And I was just some vampire, so get rid of the vampire. But it's fine because had I not gone through the experience, or had I just kept quiet and let him just, put me down, whatever, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Were you guys working together?
No. We were just friends. I mean, we never messed around or anything like that, so people out there know he's not my type. But, it's just one of those things where we got into it, and that's when real life happens. Wrestling's just a job. It's an awesome job, but it's just a job. And it's a way that I can express myself, so it's a cool job for me, because artistically I can, because to me, wrestling's theater. So it's like, going back to being a woman in wrestling, and even like how I lost my job, if I was maybe not a guy, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Maybe it still would have, I don't know. But it's kind of hard to like answer what you were asking me, because like all that stuff exists, but it's all about how you act and react to things. Now, the reason why I feel I kind of walked away with the whole thing in a positive way as far as people's opinion, like they didn't think, oh, Shelly's just being a loudmouth. It's because I would see stuff, I pick and choose when I would talk, when I'd speak up. But people give me this reputation, like I'm always like saying whatever, but it's really because I have the guts to say what's on my mind or to question something I don't know. But I pick and choose. And I think that's why my word got taken a little bit more serious. And I think that when I showed that was the kind of person I was, there was some people there that maybe at first they were just like, oh, she is just a new girl, blah, blah, blah. And the ones that didn't like try to chase after me because that's just not what they do, I ended up earning their respect. And to this day, they're some of the very few people who I keep in touch with. When it's like, I started with some people that won't even talk to me, but these people are like legends that I connected with because I simply was just being myself, and they saw that I was outspoken, but I picked and chose my spots, and they related to it and would give me advice about it. So for me, I think everyone has a different experience there. But some people will say the old, oh, it sucks there, da da da. And you have all the tale. Everyone knows that, but really, no. Okay, it's there. It's life. You work at an office job. It's still there. It's drama. It's just life. It's just wrestling. And being in WWE really kind of revealed that to me. The smoke and mirrors were gone because I was seeing people walking on eggshells. And where I come from, it's like you work hard, you come on time, you do what's asked of you 110%. That's your job. You do it. And I don't know if maybe my acting background really helped mold me in that way of thinking, whereas some people maybe took it differently because they're not actors and they just, we're wrestling, blah, 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 whatever. So, I don't know. I just feel, I know it's like a kind of a tangent I went on, but I just think it's important for people to know it's like, yeah, it's there, but that's life. It's all how you act and react to the situation.
And you hit on a good point that, I mean, now after the retrospect of you saying it, I think that, the women need a leader, especially in WWE, because when you see that the Diva show and then you see the way that they act and on the television, it just seems like they're just all lost and then going, whatever direction that they're being herded to. And you're a person that stands up, and a leader is definitely needed in any locker room, And
well, I kind of feel that somebody that had that reputation before was Molly Holly. And Molly Holly is an awesome person. Oh my gosh. She's real, she's legit, and very respected, rightfully so.
Were you around with her?
I was. Well, I was in OVW when that's kind of when I got to know her more. But then I went to Afghanistan a couple years ago. It was her, me, Terry Reynolds, Christy Hemme. Ooh, I feel like I'm missing somebody. But anyways, so in seeing that, I feel that she filled in those years of wrestling to where, I see how people will talk about her and how, they light up, especially women that were around that time. They'll light up when they talk about her. And I feel that what she brought to that locker room was something special. And those women, no matter what choices they made in life or if they just, continued on the, destructive paths or whatever, I feel Molly did something because God used her. And that's been lacking for a while.
Was she very religious?
She's very open about her spirituality. She's just a different way of thinking.
Is it more of like church, your traditional, Christian Catholic, or is it more of spirituality?
For me?
No, for her.
I have no idea.
Oh, you don't know?
To be honest with you.
Okay, I was just curious because I've heard things here and there about she was saving herself and she was remaining celibate.
That's what I'm saying. And for me, I recently just gone through a breakup, and I really felt that God put it on my heart because a few years ago when I went through a very serious breakup, I felt like I was supposed to not have sex anymore until I got married. The reason being is the kind of person that I'm supposed to be with will be okay with that. They'll be cool with that because we're on the same spiritual path. And then it'll weed out all the douchebags. So I'm not wasting my time. Because, I was free when I was younger, so I whatever. So then I kind of bend my own rule, and I had a great experience as I learned so much, and I've grown so much because of it. But when I look back to what I need, I need to go back to not having sex until I'm married. And so going back to that, so Molly was known for, like, honestly, I feel those women need to know that quote-unquote hot Shelly Martinez. I'm not trying to put myself over, but that's how people look at it, like hot Shelly Martinez. And I'm doing the bunny ears. They trip out on that because when I have this conversation, because I'm so open, whether it's wrestling or if I'm on, like, doing an acting gig and I'm just in that kind of conversation, because it always happens organically, people trip out on it, especially the way I look. Like today even, you know, here I'm dressed up as Baby Doll from Sucker Punch. So, like, you know what I mean? But that's what I'm supposed to do. Just like, and it's, I was thinking about Molly today, and it's funny that I didn't even know I was going to have an interview to, like, talk about it. And it's like, I really feel that's all. So if I go back, that's the business. I just want to say that for the record, is there needs to be a Molly Holly version 2.0. To just be there. And it's not even about people's careers. It's about these women. They need somebody. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'm a crazy hippie. But I feel in my soul that those women, they just need genuine love.
So you went through a breakup, and now you're like, as a part of your healing and growing process, you're going to remain celibate for a while.
Until I get married, because I bent the rules. I made this guy.
How do you feel that? I'm not trying to talk shit or anything. I feel like me and you are connecting right now, like on a cool level. Like, you know, I understand you, I get you. How do you feel that is going to help you?
Because whenever I sleep with somebody, it ends up, because I connect with them, obviously, whether people want to accept it or not. Let's be real, like, a body part's going inside somebody else, so that's just happening. So my poor choices with fellas that I've gone out with in the past is when I slept with them too soon, I was blinded by the sexual connection, and by the time I realized that's all it was, I've already invested myself, so then I feel guilty and I have to make it work. And then I'm with the wrong person for way too long, and I get my feelings hurt because, like, whatever. So for me, it's like, I had my wild years, so it means nothing. Like, and not to sound like whatever, but since I was a little girl, I've never had trouble getting attention from boys.
And how long has it been for you at this moment?
Well, we broke up in August, so the last time I saw him was June.
Oh. Is it killing you or what?
No, not at all, and I'll tell you why. Ever since I was a little
girl, I gotta know this. I never had trouble getting attention from boys. Now, I know some of my girlfriends who can make better decisions, God bless them. One thing they have in common is they're late bloomers. They went through an awkward stage as a child or adolescent, and they just wanted to be that pretty girl. And then later in life, where they filled themselves out, and then they're a pretty girl. But their mentality is still that little girl. High school.
Yeah, so for me, even though it took only until like a few years ago I saw what people saw, because I never saw myself as like this hot chick. I knew I was attractive because I got attention, duh. But to me, myself, I was never like, oh, I'm so hot. I was just like, I'm just Shelly, like, I don't know, whatever. I have my own insecurities, whatever. But I never had trouble getting attention from the opposite sex. So for me, I never really based my importance on having sex. Some people feel like, oh, I have to have it. For me, it's like, I can really have it whenever.
You don't have like urges or anything? You don't see like a hot dude or
no,
you're not?
Because I'm past that now. Because for me, it's not about 34.
Okay.
For me, it's not about just getting off and that euphoric rush that you get. For me, it's about connecting with somebody that your souls intertwine when you're there. That's what's up. And I've had my wild years, so like I'm not talking from like I'm just Miss Press. No, I've lived a crazy life. I've done things, but that's why I know when I have to share with people openly, it's okay to want that, because once you kind of get out of your system, you learn from all of that, and you learn what you really need.
What do you like as a woman? Not like looks or anything. Like if you had to create your man.
Right.
You know, God's here with you. Let's create your man. Let's do it.
Honestly, at the end of the day, I want to be with somebody who will light the Shabbat candles with me on Friday night. Not because
Shabbat?
Yeah.
Hold on, Martinez, and we're talking Judaism?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and it's not because they're saying, oh, she's spiritual and I'll do it. It's because right now when I'm not with that person, whoever this person is, they're already doing it because that's where their heart is.
How did you come into Judaism?
I've always been drawn to it since I was a little girl.
Uh-huh.
So, it's funny, like my whole life, my Jewish friends have always said I was like an honorary Jew.
Uh-huh.
I connected. I always, the Bible stories always connected with me and resonated with me. So a couple years ago, I embraced Messianic Judaism, which kind of combines the teachings of Jesus with Judaism, but I lean more towards the Judaism side.
What's your mom thinking about this?
She does not like it. She
Catholic?
does not like. No, she's Christian.
She's Christian, okay.
She does not like it. And in fact, I got a conversation with her like a couple weeks ago, and I was like quoting a scripture, and I was like Genesis 1:12, and she was like, "That's the Old Testament." I said, "There's no New Testament with no Old Testament," so she doesn't like it. But it's okay.
Awesome. All right, what else? Like, do you like a guy that? Are you like a dominant? Are you like the dominant person in your relationship? Or would you say that you're real passive in your relationships?
Both. It's about balance. There's a time and place, situations.
Awesome. All right, and I just want to touch on one more thing. I've had fucking fun, so thank you so much.
I know you stole me away from my booth from all the non-people over there.
TNA, what happened with that? I honestly, I didn't even know you were there. And then...
Oh, thanks a lot, buddy.
Well, I mean...
I'm just kidding.
That whole, it's just funny. Like, I can't take it serious. Like, it's not really entertaining.
Well, I thought my character was pretty good, but whatever.
The essay girl?
I was.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I grew up in the 909. A part of me will always be Chola, so that's why I played that character well. I played the vampire well because I'm part vampire, and I played...
What's that about? Wiccan, or?
No.
Remember? Part vampire.
Part vampire. Like, when I saw the Lost Boys, I became obsessed with vampires. So that's when I say I first got bitten.
Oh, okay.
Not
Gotcha.
Wiccan. I just talked about Judaism.
I know. I was like, what the hell are you doing? You're going back
No,
on the word.
I'm a vampire for God. That's a very rare breed. And those are the ones you can't destroy, no matter what.
Okay, so...
That's why I can go in the sun.
So you played a Chola. And listen, like, that's my thing. Like, I love Latin women. Like, out of all women on earth, I just think that I just have a special spot in my heart. And so I just was flipping through a channel one day, and I turned it on, and I saw you. I was like, damn, she's hot. Who is that? And I was like, oh, shit, it's you. It's Shelly from...
Hell yeah.
From
And it was
WWE.
cool for me artistically because a lot of people had stuck in their head a vampire. So people tripped out on me, and they were like, how can you play both? And it's like, well, I'm a performer. That's what I do. I'm not just one-dimensional. It's like, I look at wrestling like theater.
What would you say the major differences between the two organizations, in your experience?
That what?
Between the two organizations, TNA and WWE?
TNA is junior high, and WWE is high school.
Was like when you went from big time to small time in
Right.
that scale.
But I didn't mind.
I mean, I would have done the same thing. You
Well,
know,
here's the
let's be
thing.
honest.
Before I had any trouble, I didn't know I was going to get fired because no incident had happened. I used to go work out, and I would watch TNA, and I would watch LAX, and I would think to myself, man, if I was ever there, I would be with these guys. And I would picture my entrance, the way I would look. So it was funny that, like, things went down, and then that's exactly what happened. So it's like I was already preparing to go be with LAX.
Do you think that you're fucked for like a second coming to WWE?
I'm sorry?
Do you think that it's over? Like, do you think you can get back to WWE? Or do you think that it's because it's Batista and Triple H and their whole little gang that
I don't
they're
know.
gonna put the
I
ice
don't
on
think
you?
so. I think anything's possible.
That's what I'm talking about.
All I know is if that's where God needs me to go, then it'll happen. If he does not want me to go there, then it won't happen. It's very simple. That's why I don't stress out about it, because what I do now, like when I train or I do these shows, I do it because I love wrestling, and it brings me, again, to these women who I'm supposed to connect with. So wherever I'm supposed to go, that's where I go.
You have a show tonight. You guys have a show tonight. You're here with Sage.
Sage.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I went to your wedding.
Yes, you did. 2 years ago.
Yeah, you have a black eye, huh?
A little bit. You know.
What happened?
Another day in the business.
What happened?
Just just working with another.
Was
lady.
this on Saturday or?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday, was that in the Valley?
Yeah, Sun Valley for
Sun
UW.
Valley. Yeah. What was the bump that you took?
A couple of different ones. I don't know what it was in general. You know.
Did you get kicked or?
Maybe a few kicks here and there, but I think I got some equal kicks back in, so
It
evens out.
For both you guys, when somebody is stiff on you, and then you're like, all right, bitch, you want it? I'm going to get you back. Like, when you have to control the match, do you get them back or you just let it go? Or are there girls like that do that?
Of course there are girls in there. I mean, like Shelly says, there's a lot of girls out there that need someone to kind of direct them because other girls think they can pull rein and take control, take advantage of younger girls such as myself. But you can't really let them do that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's about being a professional and putting on a good show. You want to make both partners look good and ultimately have the fans enjoy what they're watching. So.
What is your gimmick at the moment?
I'm the Pumpkin Queen, Sage Sin.
The Pumpkin Queen. So how does it unfold for you?
Well, just the gimmick in general. I don't know. It's been really fun. I love Halloween, so it's been great to kind of incorporate what I do with wrestling. And just, I love kids. I used to work just as a DJ with kids, so that passion that I get from the audience and from little kids that just look at you like a superhero. You know what I mean? I don't know. When you can translate that to kind of what you do at work, you have a fulfilled day.
So are you cool and happy with your character at the moment?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you get to pick your own gimmick, or do you have to work it out with the
it's a
creative team?
I know there's a lot of people that try to stamp you as something, but it's more fun. I got a great piece of advice once from Roddy Piper that if you can stick to your heart, you'll have a better character because you're doing what you love. So if you can kind of find a way to incorporate what you like, what you do. Maybe a mix with what somebody else might want. You never know if you're working for a promotion that wants a specific type or a school that wants to cast you as whatever. In the end of the day, you kind of want to find what you want, what you're happy with, and what you can relate to the crowd with and connect. As Shelly says, she's part vampire. She enjoys that vampire. I love Halloween.
But here's the thing. There was that one show that you had where you got to do your whole gimmick, but even though that they teamed you with those lucha, and you were cheering for Mexico, but you're the whitest girl. But she owned it. So kind of like what you're saying, she still got to be herself. You still got to be yourself. But they got behind you, and you were the white girl, cheering Mexico.
See, you never know. I've been on Team Mexico. I've been on Team Canada. I'm sure you've been on some random teams. And no matter what, you have to represent. You have to full 100%.
So Shelly says that she was, working out and watching TNA, and she pictured herself. So when you're watching TNA or WWE or Ring of Honor, what do you picture yourself? Your gimmick, your ultimate gimmick.
I mean, I'd love to see. The thing, I get asked a lot, why do you paint your face? You're a girl, show your face. And it's because it's not about my face. It's about my wrestling, it's about my character. And to be honest, having that character is so much fun. Shelly and I got to do a show. It was a Back to the 80s show, and we were the Legionettes of Doom. And our character, no, we were straight.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
And our characters became alive, and it was just...
Do you have shoulder pads?
We had some...
We had these things, and there was spikes. It was made, and we had mustaches.
We went full out, mustache.
You remember Legion of Doom 2000 with Sunny?
What?
Legion of Doom 2000 with Sunny?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't remember back in 1996?
I'm bad. I'm the worst wrestler.
Bad with old school stuff.
Do you remember?
Slightly, vaguely.
Yeah, it was only around for a while, and then she dressed up like them, and so okay, go ahead.
You can't go wrong with a character like that, but I mean, basically, yeah, you watch and you want to put, again, your own character in there. You don't want to be, that's the problem I think with companies like that, is they'll take you and you'll be maybe here, and they're like, well, we'll put you here for now because we want to build you back up to there in our own way, and I can understand it to a degree, but you also want to show what you can do, show your character, shine through in the best way you can.
Are you both of you guys left Santino? Is that correct? Because I remember I saw your name associated with Santino, and I know you were associated.
Yeah, we're both associated.
Are you still, or was that a bad breakup, or?
I mean, I
Just
Shelly
curious.
trains there still.
I train there still.
You do?
I came from there. I was trained there originally. So.
It's just too far for you, or?
You know, things happen in the business where sometimes
Okay,
you just
gotcha.
don't train
I
there
get it, I
anymore.
get
So
it.
currently
Yeah.
I'm not, but I was there trained originally. Proud to say that Chaos trained me.
I just want to say this, and I hope no one gets mad, but I hope that you could come back because, you know, one of the things I was saying earlier, I was in a conversation, and I was just talking about how when I evolve and grow as a actress, it helps me in wrestling, and then when I conquer things that are really hard in wrestling, it helps me as an actress. Like when I get overwhelmed sometimes, and one thing I always tell myself in life, whenever I get intimidated, when those luchas train at Santino's, that's a hard class. You have to have good cardio, and there's a lot of spots, so you have to remember a lot of things, and it's amazing. They're great trainers. It's they kind of train Japanese dojo style too, which I love. And her and I were typically the only girls, and there's been times where inside I'm so scared, and I almost want to like not even go because I'm so like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing, like and then she'll look at me and no one will see it, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, and then she would do it, and no one else knew we had that conversation, and I saw the confidence, and I was like, yeah, I can do it too, because she was scared and she did it. And so like something happened with me as a performer, and then it helped me as a person because I was conquering that. And I know that did the same for you, so it's like, damn it, that luchas class, you need it.
I do. I mean, the thing with having multiple girls, for every 10 wrestlers, there's probably one female wrestler, and we inspire each other, hopefully. You know what I mean? It's horrible how other girls will tear each other down. But Shelly, I found a lucky one where we inspire each other. You know, I'll see her train, she sees me train, and it's like, okay, she can do it, I can do it. It's vice versa. Rather than the guys, you know, it's like...
How far do you run a day? Like, what's your cardio regimen?
It should be a lot more. It should be. I won't lie there. But, I try to keep it up. I try to do a little bit each day so that way when I'm in the ring, I'm not like, oh, what's going on? But I should be keeping it up more. I haven't got to training lately, but, you know.
What about you?
I know Shelly's in the gym like crazy.
Well, I do a little thing called the Jessica Simpson workout when she got in shape for the Daisy Duke role. And I do extra cardio. I do a lot of hikes with my dogs. And I go to Santino's training, whether it's Shannon Ballard class or Los Luchas. It's hot in there. We don't turn the fans on so that we sweat it out, which I love. So I'm pretty good cardio-wise. In fact, it's funny because going back to that Luchas class, when I was back east and I was training at another school, I kind of got intimidated at first because it wasn't what I was familiar with. And then I remember thinking, oh my gosh, when we run the ropes, what if I get blown up? Like, that's like a fear, like, oh, here comes the vet Shelly, and then she's getting blown up. And so I go in there, and they were like looking, and they're like, dang, okay, Lucha, slow down. And I wasn't even blown up, and I thought, it's because that damn Luchas class, man. I can do any class because that's the hardest class I've ever taken. In my whole career of wrestling, the hardest class I've ever had to take is Los Luchas. And because of their class, in conjunction with Shannon Ballard, because that's where I learned a lot of psychology, and he breaks it down. So it's like I got the best of both worlds. Like, because of those classes, like, I'm a worker, brother. That's what's up.
Making me sad talking about it. I'm
sorry,
All right,
but it's the truth.
I have two more things. The first thing is that when I was young, ever since I was 5, there's nothing else I wanted to be than a wrestler. And then I was in the military, and then I had my child, and then I was like, because the whole idea was, all right, military and go to school at the same time. And it was about to be possible. I just got shore duty, and then I had my son. So you guys are on the road so much, so I had a choice, follow your dream or be a father. And so I picked be a father. So the second best thing to do is I can talk with the best of them. I'm so good off the top of my dome. I'm real creative, so that's why we did this radio deal. So that's number one. I just wanted to say that. Like, I love wrestling, and, it's something. The second thing is, I just noticed you have tattoos. How's that going to work?
How's going to what work?
How's it going to work if you're going to get buried inside a Jewish cemetery?
But here's the thing. I'm not saying a Orthodox Jewish person. I'm saying somebody who is the type that's very open-minded, just wants to know the truth, but they do the traditional things that the Jewish religion does.
Okay.
That's just to clarify.
All right, so tonight, what's happening tonight?
I'm going to beat up Savannah Riley.
I'm in a tag match, but I'm going to get my hands on Tara Calloway again because I got her a little bit last show at Apex with her, but now she's bringing in a tag match. Apparently she's scared, so I don't know. I'm going to have to kick her butt a little bit, probably. That's going to happen.
All right, we're going to be there. Red Light's going to be there. We're supporting you guys, and we'll try to support you guys as much as we can.
Awesome, we appreciate it.
Throughout, whatever you guys need, we'll try to help you guys out.
Tell all your little friends out there about a little thing called ShellyMartinez.org. That's all I got to say. Just go there.
And you do your podcast too, right?
Podcasts, blogs, videos.
Are you on Blog Talk? Is that where I saw you?
That's on a couple of podcasts that I do. We don't really talk about Blog Talk. It's just that's the middle guy.
Okay. Oh, so
thanks for opening that up. It's Kate right here, just like spitting it all over, but that's cool.
All right. ShellyMartinez.org. Check her out. Very entertaining. Thank you so much. I'm very honored and humble. Thank you.
You owe us each $100 now from taking us away from our table. And sushi.
All right. Sushi's it. I'm there with the sushi. All right. This is Red Light to Show. We will be back after I gather my wind. Holla.
Check it out, we won the raffle.
We did?
We won the picture.
I know. I'm trying to...